All right, Dyland Borland, who was one of the witnesses at the hearing on September 9th, he had a pretty compelling testimony. Well, he was on Weaponized with Jeremy Corbell, and some of the stuff he said direct knowledge of the program. So take a look at his comments in general, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Check it out. Thank you to UAP James for clipping this out.
I have direct first-hand knowledge and exposure to crash recovery, reverse engineering, integration of technology into
redacted,
as well as the most important piece of technology on the planet, and it's not the craft themselves.
It would be the power source.
You can make that assessment yourself.
All right, let's hear that again.
I have direct first-hand knowledge and exposure to crash recovery, reverse engineering, integration of technology into
redacted,
as well as the most important piece of technology on the planet, and it's not the craft themselves.
It would be the power source.
You can make that assessment yourself.
This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day. PrizePicks, being right, can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. It's football season, man, right around the corner. And so here's an example of what you can do. So if you want to take some of your favorite players and you say, hey, Barkley, is it going to be more or less than one rushing touchdown? Joe Burrow, more or less than 2.5 passing touchdown. How about Josh Allen? You're going to get more or less 270 passing yards. What do you think? Use your skills. You know that you're doing it, and you know you're talking about it with your buddies. Well, now let's get some cash on this thing. So PrizePicks, it's simple to play. You pick more or less 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. PrizePicks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, they're safe, secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Use PrizePicks. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. I've been using them for quite a bit, and I am beyond satisfied. You got to download that app today and use DTE to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code DTE to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Okay, so again, correct me if I'm wrong. Because it very well could have. I watched a lot of that footage from September 9th. Did Dylan Borland ever say he was directly involved in the crash retrieval program? I feel like he did. But the power source and all that, it's like, if you got this, and this isn't his fault, if you got this guy in the stand, like, why don't you dive into this? If George Knapp was sitting right next to him at the hearing, why didn't you dive into this at the hearing? We should talk about that more. Did they maybe? But I mean, I think not. That's why they're talking about it here on Weaponized. But like, this is more the stuff that you need to get to. And this is a guy, like, this was one of the things we said was important, that bringing in a guy like this, we hadn't seen a lot of his name, and to get him more on the interviews now, I see that's the thing that I like more than anything. I like when the guys that are like the Fravers and the Grush, all those guys, when they're showing up after testifying, and then they're on podcasts everywhere afterwards. Okay, yeah, they started by testifying in front of Congress, and now they're telling their story and elaborating on it a little bit more. I'm all for it. It's always tough, and I don't disparage anybody who is on the podcast first and then won't testify, because I understand why they won't. I've made it very clear with the protection and all that. But the most intriguing thing about this whole thing is the fact that he knows about the actual power source itself. Like, let's dive deeper into that. It's always the most frustrating thing with all these things, right? With the credible people that they have, that no one ever really, besides Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, nobody of governmental note ever really follows up and says, okay, well, this is such an intriguing thing that this guy has said under oath and other things. Let's talk to him about that. It just why, to me, it just shows such a clear kind of cover up of, well, yeah, all right, they talked now. No one's really discussing it too much. Let's just move on to the next thing. Great. Did it really move any needles? None any more than anything else as of recently. And now it's like they go, let them talk about it on podcasts. It's good that they're getting the information out there. It's good. This is why Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are to me, the most important out there. Regardless of, like, I happen to really admire both on what they do for the topic. I really do. And I know some people get on Corbell and other things too. I think that for me, he's toned down a lot of the things that I had said in the past. Like, okay, he's like, this is coming, wait until this happens, wait until this. He doesn't do that really as much anymore. I think he said as much. He's like, look, I thought I hyped up that last hearing in 2024 because I thought these things were coming. I'm not doing that again. I'm just going to get information out there. I'm going to put things out there. And he's been doing that. There are other reporters that continuously keep doing the same thing. Wait till this happens. This is going to be crazy. Watch this. This is going to blow everybody's minds. It's like, it didn't. This is, to me, okay, you're sitting there. Knapp is sitting there talking to this guy or sitting next to this guy at the hearing. Hey, that guy, we were all there together. Let's get him on the show. Let's elaborate even more. The things that he couldn't say under oath, maybe he can say on the show, and let's really put this out there. I think this is it's important what they do. A lot of these people that they bring forward is usually because of these guys, whether it's Matt Brown, him. This is something that it is very important for what they're doing. And I think it's also pretty great that they're actually going to be doing a movie version of George Knapp and his story with Bob Lazar. And you see that Knapp was like the grandfather of UFO reporting. And the fact that, he's kind of passing right now, sharing, but yet passing the torch to Corbell and what they're doing, and Corbell and kind of the modern media being able to really report on this stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that they have this guy. And I think that no matter what it is, like, look, I have a show in the movie space. You get a guy, and I find one of my close friends is one of the big, the main podcaster in the wrestling space, and that's Chris Van Vliet is a good friend of mine. And you look at the guys now. What happened? Chris built his thing off to just reaching after guests, going after guests himself, showing that he's legitimate, showing that he cares, showing that he can be trusted, and now everybody wants to do his show. Same goes for a buddy of mine in the movie space, Josh Horowitz. Same thing. He starts out smaller things, does some stuff. More people trust, more people trust, more people trust. That is what is happening and has happened here. More people trust Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp to tell things to release information to, than they do the official wing of Arrow in the government. Because it seems as if these two are actually trying to get across information. That's why they have stuff that's leaked. As I said on yesterday's show, I believe that what's going to happen is, whether it's Weaponized or another type of show, I believe that when the footage, the grand poobah footage, the footage that really turns everything on their head that you just can't deny anymore, I think it's going to come from something like this. I think it's going to come from a show like this, whether it's not these two guys. And odds are, if you're going to go to Vegas and put a bet down, you'd probably put it on them because of the footage they've already shown. And there's probably going to be more of that. And there probably should be more of that. And it's strategic in how they do it. But I hope, and I put it out to Corbell and Knapp, and they obviously know of certain things and trust that they can't break. But I beg of you guys, if you got the real, I shouldn't say the real stuff, but the good stuff. If you got the stuff that can just get this whole Congress and everything else just out of the way, everybody's going in circles, guys. And if you can bring more guys like this and you can find out more information, you get great interviews like that, fantastic. But if you can get that footage, that undeniable footage, it's going to come from something like this. At least that's what I think. What do you think? What do you think of these comments in general? What do you think about the fact that, again, the reverse engineering? Do you think that anything with these subpoenas and other things that they talked about, that we're going to finally subpoena and find out about the crash retrieval program? If the crash retrieval program stuff comes out, will it even be from this government, or will it be admission from another foreign government? What say you? Put your thoughts in there. I want to know. All right, thanks for being here as always. We'll see you on the flip side.